What's up, everyone? This is TJ, aka Joel Assange with Team Body Warrior. So I've been meaning to put this together for quite some time. This particular video is, I don't want to say it's just for Team Body Warrior clients, but I am kind of gearing it towards my clients simply because of the way I designed the program and the exchange list for the foods that are available to them. It's going to be pertaining to essentially that. However, you could take away some great things from this video in terms of how to measure out foods and things of that nature. So I'm hoping this video is going to help everyone, but once again, it is a little bit geared towards Team Body Warrior clients because they will know exactly what food exchange chart I'm talking about. So first off, before I dive into all this stuff, I only want you utilizing the foods that are on the exchange list. So sometimes I send a plan out and somebody will ask, hey, on the plan, there's no milk. And I'm like, yeah, that's because on the plan it says only utilize what's on the exchange list. So I essentially have a category full of different proteins. I have a category for carbs with all options for the carbs. Then I have fats and all options for fats. Veggies, I'm pretty open with. I'm like, just use a handful for these meals, and it could be any green veggies you want, and no big deal. But if it's not on the exchange list, if the food is not on the exchange list, you cannot have it. Because I want to educate you on how to measure these things out, but then I don't want you going to the store and trying to get too creative, because there's a reason why I hand selected everything to be on that exchange list. It's because there's certain proteins, carbs, and fats that are that carry essentially the same kind of not nutrients, but calories in terms of calories. So it makes it a lot easier to swap things out. So once again, please only use what is on the exchange list. Okay? So I'm a little hungry right now. Figured I'd get in a little bit of protein before I start, But anyways, so I'm gonna start off with protein. First and foremost, I don't want people getting all the little grams and calories and all that stuff that's on these nutrition facts mixed up with how I want you to weigh your food. So normally when I design a plan, I indicate on there for meal one, for example. I'm going to try to use this example over and over, that way I don't jump around too much. Meal one, for example, if I want someone to have 6 ounces of protein, they can look on the exchange list and they're like, okay, these are my options for my protein sources. What I typically tell everyone to do is select like maybe 3, at the max 4 of your favorite proteins, carbs, and fats. Once again, veggies, I don't care, just grab a handful of whatever green veggies you want. But because there's so many different options, that's why I want you to narrow it down to 3 to 4 per category, per macronutrient. It just makes it a lot easier. That way you're like not going into analysis paralysis where you're like, oh my God, I have all this great information, but I have too many options. I don't want you falling into the mindset. I already did all the dirty work for you. You just gotta select some of your meals and get a little bit creative with it. So let's say meal one, I want you to have 6 ounces of protein. You want to turn on your scale. It should be zeroed out. As you notice, I put a bowl on top of here. Now, if it's not zeroed out, hit the on or tear button one more time and it should zero out. And then you want to make sure the unit is on ounces. Now, I know for those of my international clients or outside of the USA, a lot of you use grams, that's fine, but I want you to use ounces exactly how I have on your plan. And then you could click the unit button afterwards and it will convert whatever is in ounces into grams, if you're curious as to what it is in grams, okay? But just measure everything out in ounces. So if I say 6 ounces of protein, you're gonna be scooping out, this is a shredded chicken breast. it's gonna look like I'm putting a lot in there, but since it's shredded, it's kind of fluffy. But I know roughly this entire bowl is gonna be pretty much 6 ounces. Now, this is really good to do because you really wanna, especially individuals who are traveling a lot and or like to eat out, you wanna have an idea of what 6 ounces of chicken breast looks like, right? You don't, every time you go to a restaurant, they always give you plenty of carbs, but they always tend to be a little bit, they're skimming out on the protein usually, right? Because protein is more expensive, carbohydrates aren't. So they're always going to try to push a lot more carby type of stuff in the foods. And plus they're adding in extra oils and fats. So this gives you an idea of what 6 ounces of protein looks like. Now, if I said 6 ounces of protein, you could do 6 ounces of chicken breast, or, which roughly has 39 grams, about 35 to 39 grams of protein. Or you could do about 1.5 scoops of whey protein. Now you have to be careful with the whey proteins that you get because all of them are a little bit different, but typically 1 scoop of whey protein is going to have approximately 22 to 25 grams of protein, meaning 1.5 scoops of whey protein is going to be the equivalent of having 6 ounces of chicken breast. Because like I said, this has about 35 grams of protein. Now, so you could use either or for that meal. If you want to use liquid egg whites, I'm going to make this very simple. Some people, for some reason, get fluid ounces mixed up with the actual weight ounces. Now, I forgot to grab a cup. So if in your meal plan I tell you to have 6 ounces of protein, you could have about 1.5 scoops of whey protein. Your whey protein, once again, I want to really reiterate this, should pretty much have 4 grams or less of carbohydrates, and it should have very low fats, right around maybe 2 to 3 grams tops. Okay, it's pretty much should be mainly protein, just like chicken breast. Liquid egg whites, if I say to have 6 ounces of protein for the meal, you just double the amount for liquid egg whites. That means you open this up, make sure you shake it first. And since I'm telling you to have 6 ounces of protein, that means you're gonna fill this up to the 12 ounce mark. 12 fluid ounces, that's right about up to here. So from here to here is 12 fluid ounces, which is the equivalent to 6 ounces of chicken breast, 6 ounces of white fish like tilapia, it's the same, or about 1.5 scoops of whey protein. But most of you notice I already tell you how many scoops of whey protein to usually use, and then you'll get an idea of, that's how much I want you to use in other meals if you want to eat it more than once a day. So all you got to do is, if you want to use liquid egg whites, is double up the amount I'm telling you, and you're good to go. You could either drink these straight or you could cook them, whatever you want to do. So if I say have 4 ounces of protein for this meal, that means you would fill this up to 8 ounces. 8 fluid ounces, so about from here to here. Okay? Which would be the equivalent to pretty much about 1 scoop of this, of whey protein, is about 4 ounces. So, moving on to what about regular old classic eggs. Very simple. Once again, I'm gonna make sure I tweak the exchange list to make sure it covers this as well, but very simple. If I want you to have 6 ounces of protein for that meal, you simply use 6 egg whites, not the yolk, whites. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So if I say 4 ounces of protein for this meal, that means you use 4 egg whites. 1 egg equals 1 ounce, basically, give or take a little bit. All right. Oh, I almost forgot. I was gonna get to this later on when I cover fats, but I might as well do it now. But you're like, what about the yolks? Are they good? Are they bad? Look, yolks are perfectly fine. I have no idea why they got a bad name. Actually, most of the nutrients are in the yolk. Okay? So if I tell you to have a serving of fat, you probably notice on the exchange list, you could use about 3 of these egg yolks. So a serving of fat, which is roughly 14 grams. 1 serving of fat is 14 grams. And each egg contains roughly 5 grams of fat. So that's about 15 grams. So like I said, plus or minus 1 here and there, it's no big deal. So 3 egg yolks is equivalent to 1 serving of fat, which is roughly 14 grams. All right. Now, let's go to our, my favorite, which are carbs, which some people, once again, carbs keep getting a bad name. That's because there's good carbs, there's bad carbs, just like there's, really awesome protein and there's really awesome fats, and there's good and bad in everything, okay? But you have to see what works for your body. Now, with carbs, I'm gonna show you how to measure carbohydrates. So if I say use half a cup of carbs, I know you can't read this from here, but this is a 1/4 cup measuring cup. So if I say use a half a cup of carbs, and you're like, oh, you know what? I want oatmeal. Oatmeal is one of those things. Keep in mind everything I'm talking about. Whenever I want you to measure it out, it's already cooked. It's already cooked. So I'm not talking raw. Same with rice. Rice, the measurements I'm giving you is assuming it's cooked. But fruits and oatmeal are one of those one-off things where you don't obviously have to cook fruits and you don't need to cook the oatmeal. You just measure it out. So if I want you to use half a cup of carbs, this is a 1/4 cup. So that means you need to use 2 of these. This would be 1, and then you'd scoop it out again. That would be 2, and that would put you at half a cup. Okay? And then you can mix it up with water, not milk, because the milk is not on the exchange list. So people are like, how do I eat my oatmeal? Either you can make a shake out of it, put liquid egg whites in a blender, put oatmeal in there, sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon. Milk, because milk is not on the exchange list. So people are like, how do I eat my oatmeal? Either you can make a shake out of it, put liquid egg whites in a blender, put oatmeal in there, sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon, blend it up. It tastes awesome, right? It's a smoothie. So that's how you'd measure out carbs. Same thing with rice. If this were rice, this was filled up with cooked rice, I would tell you, hey, I want you to have 1 cup of carbs for, I don't know, whatever meal it is. Being that this is a 1/4 measuring cup, you'd scoop it out 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 1 cup. All right? Now, for breads, people always ask, can I have bread? It's very tricky. This is when I don't want people getting too clever, because it's one of those things where most people don't know how to read labels correctly. They just look, they only try to look for what they're looking for, and they don't look at anything else. And it throws off the whole nutrition plan, because they're trying to jump the gun a little bit too much. So the bread that I do like is this one. Artisano, or I have no idea how to say it. Artesano. Artesano. Artisano bread. Now, roughly 1 cup of carbs, and you've probably seen this on the exchange list, is 45 grams, okay? Now, that doesn't mean I want you measuring out 45 grams on a scale. That's not how it works. Because it's gonna throw you off. That's why I want you using measuring cups. This is why I'm not a huge fan of using bread, because it's not like you can measure out the bread and stuff it into here and measure it out. That's why I don't want people getting too clever, and I don't like utilizing too many breads, because you will be shocked at the difference of brand names and breads. Even within one brand name, they have different options, and it is all over the place. But I know you can't read it from here, but 1 slice of bread is 19 grams of carbs. It only has 1.5 grams of fat, which is extremely low, and about 4 grams of protein. Protein, I don't care. If you go a little higher on protein, it's no big deal. But it's the fats and carbs that will really mess you up. But one slice of bread has 19 grams of carbs. Remember earlier I told you 1 cup of carbs has 45 grams. So that tells me if I have 2 slices of bread, that puts me at what? 19, that's gonna basically put me at 38 grams of carbs. So it's a little shy of 1 cup. So 2 slices of this bread is a little shy of 1 cup of carbs. But that's okay, give or take a little bit on carbs, I'm not too concerned. But that's just an example of how you could utilize bread. But if you're my client, I want you to shoot me a picture before you start trying to find bread on your own and mess up your whole nutrition plan. It took me a while to design. Don't do that. But what I like to do for carbs, which I know a lot of others want to utilize, is tortillas. Awesome macronutrient breakdown. Last night I had chicken tacos. So essentially I have about 6 to 7 ounces of protein on my meal plan. So I measure out 6 or whatever I use, 7 ounces of protein. I put it to the side. So I know I gotta eat all this protein when I'm making the tacos. So I'm gonna try to stuff as much as I can into 1 taco, and then I'll eat the rest afterwards. But let's say if I wanted you to have 1 cup of carbs, which once again, this tortillas are on your exchange list. If 1 cup of carbs has 45 grams and your plan says, oh, for meal 2, you could only have half a cup of carbs, well, half of 45 is 22.5 grams, okay? So 2 tortillas is 21 grams. Bingo, that's on the money. That means I can have 2 tortillas for a half a cup of carbs. So it says half a cup of carbs, that means you can only have 2 tortillas, right? Because 1 cup of carbs is 45 grams. And if I only want you to have half a cup of carbs, that means it should be only 22.5 grams of carbs. 2 tortillas is 21 grams, close enough to 22.5 in my eyes. You're good to go. That means you could eat 2 tortillas. Or how I should reword that, tortilla. Okay? That's how you could utilize that. Now, going on to the tricky stuff. Fruits. Fruits are one of those oddball things that are on the exchange list. I love utilizing fruits. They're a great carbohydrate source. I don't know why people are scared to use fruits, but what I do recommend is try not to eat fruits more than twice a day, because remember, I also want you to eat your veggies. And whenever you combine like fruit and veggies in one meal, it's like it's overboard on fiber. Your stomach may not like you. It's going a little extreme on the fiber side. So it could cause a little irritation is essentially what I'm saying. So I would try to avoid doing it. So let's say, once again, I want you to have 1 cup of carbs for your meal, and you're looking on your exchange list. You already know that, you want, remember, you're picking, I want you to pick like 3 or 4 of your favorite proteins, 3 or 4 of your favorite carbs, 3 or 4 of your favorite fats, just to make life easy. But let's say fruits is one of your favorite carb sources, and I tell you to have 1 cup of carbs for that particular meal. That means you need to measure out 3 cups of diced fruit. 3 cups of diced fruit is the same as having pretty much 1 cup of oatmeal, okay? Or it's the same as having technically 4 of these tortillas. It's all the same. This is why I don't want you going off trying to discover all these new items, because it took me a long time to put the exchange list together, so that's why I want you to utilize just what's on the exchange list. Okay, there's a reason for that. So you would have to measure out 3 cups for it to equal 1 cup of carbs. Where's my cup? Whatever. This is when I get lazy, when I'm like, oh, I gotta utilize this quarter cup multiple times in order for it to equal 3 cups. So technically, being that this is a quarter cup, it's an itty bitty little thing, right? There's 4 of these in 1 cup, and I'm telling you to use 3 cups. That means you gotta scoop this sucker up 12 times in order for it to equal that. So you would scoop it up and utilize whatever amount you need. So let's say if I say use a half a cup of carbs, well then you just, if you know that 3 cups of fruits is 1 cup of carbs, that means 1.5 cups of fruits is a half a cup of carbs. It's that simple. An awesome shake you can make is, once again, put some water in a blender, put however much protein you need. Let's say if it's about 6 ounces of protein, that's about a scoop of protein. If it's 4 ounces of protein, that's about 1 scoop of protein. Put in the amount of fruits you need. So if I'm telling you to eat half a cup of carbs, then you would scoop out 1.5 cups of fruit. Put that in the blender, and let's say if that meal has a certain amount of fat as well that you need, then you could put a serving of whatever fat you want, blend it up, drink it. And whatever spices, if you want to add cinnamon or whatever, feel free to do so. Okay. When it comes to bananas, remember, usually a medium-sized banana is about a half a cup of carbohydrates. It'll contain roughly 22 to 23 grams of carbs. This is what one banana typically has. And you could get creative. So if I say have half a cup of carbs, you could technically scoop out half a cup of oatmeal and make up the other half by throwing in a banana. You could do that. All right, so I hope I covered the fats. Veggies, I'm just gonna bang this out of the way. I don't care what veggies you use green veggies, mixed veggies, grab a handful, throw it in whatever meal that I'm recommending you eat it for, done. What I do recommend is heat up vegetables or try to cook them up a little bit, because if your stomach is sensitive like mine, you have digestive issues, okay? Your spouse ain't gonna like you, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe even your kids. Heat them up just a little bit. 15, 20 seconds in the microwave does the job. It kind of kills whatever, can't remember the name of it, but it kills that little molecule in there that gets you gassy. All right, moving on to fats, the fun stuff. You'll notice on the exchange list, I tell you a serving of fat. One serving of fat, according to how I design the programs, is 14 grams, okay? That means 23 almonds is 14 grams. So you would eat 23 almonds. On coconut oil, it says 1 tablespoon. Please do not get tablespoons and teaspoons mixed up. This is a tablespoon. Let's see. This is a teaspoon. Little itty bitty little teaspoon. Tablespoon, big. So this is a tablespoon. So this says 1 tablespoon is 14 grams. So that means if I use 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, that's the same as eating 23 almonds, based on how I designed the program, okay? Because they both contain 14 grams of fat. So that was pretty clear. Peanut butter. I know damn near everyone loves peanut butter, or almond butter, or whatever kind of butters. Now, I love using this one as an example. Yes, it's Skippy's. You want to preferably get like the natural kind, the ones with like no artificial flavors, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, but on here, remember, if 1 serving has 14 grams of fat, right here it says serving size, 2 tablespoons. So 2 of these tablespoons, make sure it's topped off, because I know some of you want to be like, oh, this is a tablespoon, I'm just going to scoop out as much as I can. And it's like piled up on top. No, level it off. So 2 tablespoons is 16 grams of fat. And remember, 1 serving is 14 grams of fat, so you're pretty much right there. Maybe just take out a little bit off of one of the tablespoons to make it about 14 grams. So it doesn't mean that 1 tablespoon of this and 1 tablespoon of this is the same. No. Peanut butters, or any butters in general, are one of those tricky ones. Remember, same with the egg yolks. 3 egg yolks, the yellow part, is the same as having 2 tablespoons of this particular peanut butter, which is also the same as having 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, which is also the same as having 23 almonds. Boom. But your exchange list breaks a lot of that down, okay? And if there's something that I need to tweak on there to make that even easier for you to understand, I will do so, but I'm hoping this video does the job as well. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I try to cover all the main points that I had, and I will be uploading this on YouTube soon. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Team Body Warrior. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Team Body Warrior. I also have a Facebook page, Team Body Warrior, but I even have a Snapchat. It's actually TJ_Body Warrior. But I utilize Instagram quite a bit, and now I'm utilizing YouTube as well. All right, and if you need any coaching, get a hold of me on it. You know, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or go to my website, teambodywarrior.com. Fill out the application. All right, thanks, folks.